On, guys? It's Mark with Limo Marketer, and I'm joined again by Ken Lucci from Driving Transactions. Thanks again, Ken. Your videos have been very popular.
Well, as we were just speaking, I don't speak from academics. I speak from actually doing this. And back in the day, this was a lot of fun to me when I built my business. And it's a little bit of a break for me because of, handling the M&A side of the world and dealing with attorneys and buyers and sellers. So this is a great release, and it actually does add a lot of value when people eventually go to sell their businesses. So,
Yeah, no,
yep.
exactly. And yeah, we had a great call, what, 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I almost wish we had recorded that whole thing because
You
you
know.
just had so many great insights. But we got to talking, you put together a little presentation.
Yep.
So if you want to share your screen, we'll pull that up and you can just kind of go through some of the slides you created. Okay, perfect. And I'll just kind of let you take over here.
So, I've been in sales for a long, long time. I've sold security systems, and I sold medical alarm systems to senior citizens. And then when I started my limousine company, I just learned that um, there's a lot of there's a lot. If you want to command the best prices in your market, you can't sell based on bottom line price. You have to sell based on the value that you deliver. So when we talked about your challenges, if you will, because you create a lot of good leads for people, um, it kind of resonated with me because I see the same thing when I do valuations of companies and I ask them about their digital marketing spend and I ask them about their PPC and I see their processes. I get kind of frustrated because I don't see a lot of engagement with leads, and they they really they most operators just go right to the bottom line price, maybe because it's a timing situation. So I put this together because I've done a lot of research on this in past presentations, and I wanted to just kind of break this down that it's not all about price. It's mostly in our head. Okay.
Yep.
And the secondary title to this is how do we make the most of every sales lead? Because, unless the person drops off the face of the earth, chances are that they're going to continue to use chauffeur services. There's an old saying, they don't come on the lot unless they want to buy a car. So to me, even if you didn't sell it the first time, we're going to talk about how to get another bite at the apple. So from the flip, I don't know why this is not advancing for me. Stop a second.
No worries. And yeah, while you figure that out, yeah, the conversation we had last time, it was exactly the issue a lot of my clients have when dealing with, online leads is it's how do what questions do you ask to kind of find out who that buyer is? And then, yeah, how do you continue to, keep selling to them? Because like you said, it's not like they're only going to use these services once in their, lifetime. Okay, perfect. So it looks like,
So,
is this the second slide?
yep. So let's dispel some myths. I just want to make sure this keeps advancing because sometimes with Zoom it gets stuck. Dispelling the myths. This is some research done by a company called Stacks Research about the buying habits of 40,000 consumers and 40,000 corporate buyers. Okay. The realities are this: selling just on price makes your service appear no different than any alternative. So you're putting yourself in a commodity. You're making yourself just like a taxi, just like a black car service, just like Uber. Okay. Now, only 18% of consumers make price their number one buying criteria. And that's when they're buying a commodity like, a cup of coffee, or they're buying a commodity that they don't see much value in, and it's an infrequent purchase. But almost 50% of all consumers say that price is among the top three, but it's after higher quality has been demonstrated, superior reliability and durability. In our case, we are selling on-time performance and guarantee that the vehicle will be there. And then finally, it is price. Okay. 30% of the time, by the way, price is not even in the top three. It's down further on the list. And you only know that when you find out how, when, why, and what the client does. How often do they go? When do they typically travel? Why did they call you today? Which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Now, This is the basics of life, okay? If everybody bought everything on price, we'd all be buying our coffee at the 7-Eleven, okay? Because you can get a cup of coffee for 99 cents at the 7-Eleven that costs you $3.80 at Dunkin' Donuts, that costs you on average $4.67 at Starbucks. Don't ask me how I know that. But the realities of the purchasing is that people buy based on trust, enjoyment, and experience, okay? I love my Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I wouldn't drink 7-Eleven coffee, even though it cost me a third less. Okay. In corporate America, the buying criteria is even starker, if you will. Okay. So if you're talking about typical buying of paper, of pens, of something they consider a commodity, typical buying, 15% is all based on price. But when you're talking about something that requires quality, durability, guaranteed performance, okay, 35% of corporate buyers say price is not even among their top three considerations. Why? It's not their money.
Yeah.
Okay. The reality is when you're talking about a corporate buyer, okay, who are they? They're in procurement. They might be in human resources. Most likely they're an executive assistant. Do you know what they want? They want you to make them look good and
Yep.
feel like they're important. Okay.
Yep.
So
That's huge.
general rules of corporate procurement is for products and services that they're going to use often or that are perceived as important to key stakeholders. Like if this car doesn't show up, my boss is going to call me and give me a bunch of crap. Okay. Quality, reliability, and value are much more important than price. But how would you know that unless you found out certain things on the phone call? Here's the basics of corporate buyers. If it was all about price, every corporate executive and corporate manager would be staying at Motel 6, and it doesn't happen. Okay? It doesn't happen. Management stays in Hampton Inn because of consistency, clean, good value, moderate pricing. By the way, their slogan is making you happy makes us happy. Executives stay at the W or Ritz-Carlton because they perceive higher quality, exceptional service, elegant surroundings. By the way, the slogan is "We are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen." That was in my book, by the way. But here's why this is important. The same buying criteria is in chauffeur transportation.
Yeah.
Because if they bought on price, they'd be calling Uber or the taxi. Just so you know, this is a statistic from Uber's annual report and their K1. Less than 4% of all Uber rides are by reservation prior to 60 minutes prior to the phone call. Less than 4%. Less than 2% of Uber trips either begin or end at an airport. It is a total misnomer that Uber is our competition going to and from the airport because Uber can't not guarantee performance. They just can't do it
Yeah.
because of the way their algorithm works. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we stop selling price and start selling value to the right customers, this is what it means. Value selling begins with the premise the customer doesn't buy the actual good or service. They don't buy the ride. They buy the benefits that we can deliver, specific benefits. As an example, people don't buy an aspirin. They buy pain relief. They buy Bayer
Exactly.
fast-acting headache relief. Okay. People don't buy the ride to the airport because if they did, they would just call a taxi cab or they would call Uber or they would have their neighbor drive them. What they want is a guaranteed, 100% guaranteed on time performance and superior service. Okay. If you sell it right, price is much less important than communicating that value that you will never leave them stranded. So here's how this breaks down. If we want to deliver value, we have to look at the difference between other options like taxi and Uber. Okay. And why do people buy us? The more you could build value into the customer's journey, the customer experience, and the difference. Okay. The wider you can make that gap, the more value the customer will perceive and the more loyal they will be. Okay. You have to do that on the initial phone call. You cannot build value over a series of automated emails because people are not going to read below the first 2 or 3 sentences. The best way for
Exactly.
you to, it's true. I mean, we all expect our CRM to do everything for us, and it just can't. Okay. So most importantly, your CRM cannot tell you why that person called today, what they did beforehand, and how often do they use chauffeur transportation. So the value, selling value exists in everything that you can say that makes you different from the lowest cost possible denominator, right? To
Yeah.
creating the luxury experience, right? So Uber and taxis are Motel 6. Chauffeur transportation is the W in the Ritz-Carlton. That's the expectation. So on every lead, before you mention price, here are some examples. And we talked about this. And by the way, I'm sending you this presentation. Feel free to give it to anybody you want. These are just the questions I would ask, and I always ask. When exactly are you traveling? Date, time, from where are we picking you up? How many guests will be traveling? By the way, how long are you traveling for? When are you coming back?
And,
Okay,
and by the way, sorry to cut in. And if
go
you,
ahead.
you know, a lot of the forms on the landing pages I have, we're already asking some of this information, but what you're doing is you're confirming it,
Yep,
right?
yep.
And and they will appreciate that because you want to make sure you get it right, right?
Exactly. And you're able to create value statements when you reiterate the information. For example, how often do you use this kind of service from my area? Well, you know what? I'm only in Minneapolis for today. I don't want to say this the wrong way. I'm not going to really work hard for somebody that's one and done, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
versus, you know something, I go out of town 2 or 3 times a month, and I use these kind of services 2 or 3 times a month. Great. So you don't know that if you're not engaging with the client. By the way,
Exactly.
are you traveling yourself or are you booking the service for someone else? And oh, I'm booking this for my boss. Geez, you know, tell me something, Mark. Do you book for just your boss or other people? No, I work in the corporate travel department. I book for 12 executives. Now, is that important to know on the sales call? Of course it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
And these things can't really be asked on a form, you know, they just seem like
You
kind of
can't.
evasive questions. And that's why having a conversation is so
Right.
important.
Absolutely. And it's interesting. I did a valuation for a company and I actually used their online booking form and I started to get their automated emails. Okay. And 2 days went by and I had 4 emails in my inbox and I asked the owner the question. Let me ask you a question. Does somebody call and follow up with me and see if I have any questions about the quote? No, we don't have time for that. Terrific. Okay, so you just really common denominator, you'd load everything to price. If I don't like your price, because I'm certainly not reading those 4 emails, okay? But you know what? Why not text me? This is Maria calling from such and such. Ken, do you have any questions about the quote? Can I book that trip for you because we sell out fast. What did I just do there? I created urgency. No, Maria, your price is too high. Hey, Ken, can you take a 1 minute phone call right now? Okay, of course. I mean, you've just opened up the door right there. So, are
Yeah.
you traveling for yourself? If I'm, no, this is for my boss. You know something? Your boss is going to love our service. He's going to be very happy that you chose us. For my wife or daughter, listen, we're the safest, most reliable way to travel. We're going to take great care of them. Every time you ask a question, you create a value statement as a reply. This is simple stuff. There's probably maybe 10 questions you could possibly want to ask. Okay. By the way, tell me something, Mark. What did you do before this? What made you call us today? You know what? I was using so and so. He retired. He went out of business. Or I was using so and so. He didn't make it through the pandemic. You know something? A lot of people tell me that, and you're going to be much happier with our service. I want you to keep my number. Anytime you need anything, this is the number that you call me. You don't have to get an automated attendant. You call me. But if you don't know what they've done before today, okay, what made you call? How do you know that they're not in town for a FAM that is booking for a summer group or summer conference with 75 people coming in for the day? You don't. Okay.
Exactly. Exactly.
So where will we be picking you up? Your home or your business? What town, zip code? you know what? We have many corporations in the same area that trust us. I'll be happy to provide you with references. Based on how often you travel, we should really open up a corporate account. Okay. So if it's an individual, you know something, we have a lot of customers in your area in that zip code. Our chauffeurs are very familiar with your location, and we're always in your area. Are you able to book a round trip today? Because I would really like to give you the best possible combination price that I can. You know, a lot of people they book their round trip. A lot of people, you know, if they are prompted, will say, you know something, that's right. I'm going to need a ride back from the airport, or you know what, maybe my daughter's going to pick me up. Why don't you book it now, just in case? If you need to make a change, you let me know.
And
So
that's
on,
providing value right there. Just
no
because
question,
you thought of something that they didn't think of. And so that's the value you're providing. And these sorts of questions, that's value right there. Asking the right questions, right?
no question. By the way, I want you to send this to anybody that needs it. And my challenge is on your next 10 sales leads to write down every possible question you can think of. And I guarantee you it's no more than a dozen. And you need to ask 12 questions on every trip. The most important one to me is, tell me something, Mark. What did you do before today? You said you travel quite a bit. What made you call us? Oh, you know, I saw your PPC ad. You know, my guy went out of business, or my guy's retiring, or the last 3 times I've called him, he's not been able to accommodate me. That happens quite a bit. Okay. You
Yeah.
know what, Mark? That's not going to happen with us. You keep my phone number. People have told me that before. I don't like bad mouthing people. You keep my phone number. I'm going to make sure that I take care of you personally. So you, as a business owner, if if you're not developing sentences of why you're better than your competition, first of all, I know I'm better than my competition because I have a full-time financial analyst who's an MBA. Okay, my competition doesn't have a full-time MBA working for them. Kid's got a degree in corporate finance. Okay, I've also run a $5 million transportation company. So when people hire me, they hear that stuff from me. Okay,
Yep.
so I'm asking every operator to be ready, okay, when you're on the phone, keep it in the notes of your smartphone, however you have to do it. Why should people do business with you? In the simplest term possible. How are you unique? Okay. First and
Yeah.
foremost, I'm the owner of this business. I work this business 7 days a week. I'm your guy. I do a lot of the driving myself. This is my business. You're not talking to a call center. Okay.
Yeah.
These are some examples that I use. We've been in business since 1999. We guarantee on-time performance. By the way, we typically arrive 15 minutes prior. Our chauffeurs are employees with guaranteed impeccable driving records. We have commercial insurance in excess of what the law requires. Our fleet vehicles are impeccable. We're 24-hour operation. We monitor your flights live. So if there's any changes, chances are we're going to know before you do. So you tell your clients, this is unique for every company. Okay. This
Yeah.
is this is unique for every company. I've been in the market for 25 years. I've seen people come and go. My company has grown because we take care of people. I am happy to give you a reference. But these are very simple, unique value statements.
Yeah.
Again, you don't have to pull out every single one, but you try to learn what the hot button is.
Exactly. Yeah.
You you're picking me up at 4:30 in the morning. We guarantee on time performance. Mark, this is a little inside baseball. I didn't want to tell. I don't usually tell people this. We have an automated wake up service. We wake up our chauffeur, and if the chauffeur doesn't get up and press a button, it automatically rotates to the next person, and the next person is up. I mean, there's a lot of tech that my clients use, but
No,
anyway.
that's awesome.
So
Yeah.
so if you're picking up somebody at their house, we guarantee we handle your luggage from the front door all the way into the terminal from the airport. If you'd like, because you're coming in at 1 o'clock in the morning, I can meet you inside the terminal and take care of that luggage for you. You have to listen for hot buttons on every sales lead that you have. But again, if you're relying just purely on, and I love them. Trust me, I love the automated forms that come in on my website. But frankly, I absolutely have to qualify every single lead, and I get on the phone with every single lead. And if you treat it as one transaction, you may not think it's necessary, but if that guy travels 2, 3, 4 times a month, or if that woman books for 5 different travelers, do you know what the annual value of that one sales lead becomes? It's incredible. So if you want to attract customers who appreciate value, okay, you have to find out their needs and you have to educate them as to why you're the best to justify your price. You also make it a habit that price should be the last thing you talk about. Okay. Provide light customer referrals. People want to do business with people that others like them use. After the first call, try to get them to use technology for speed and efficiency. Mark, you know what? You can save $10 if you book online and if you book a round trip online. Or I'm going to set you up with corporate pricing. The only thing with corporate pricing is you have to use my booking tool.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
train your new clients on how you want them to act. Use technology to order. The other day we did a transaction, I'm sorry, a KPI for a client. And I said, do you know that it costs you $6.20 to take every single reservation? Ken, how the hell did you figure that out? I just divided the number of transactions that you take, manual transactions, by your reservations department labor. You
Yeah.
have to, we have to get that number down. $6.80 is too high, by the way. That's not the highest I've ever looked at. Recognize that for 30% of consumers, purchasing price is not one of the top 3 buying criteria, especially if they have to hit a flight at 7 o'clock in the morning. And the difference between a low price and you is making sure that you're going to get them to the airport on time. So at the end of the day, after you've asked the questions, kind of the who, the what, the where, why are you calling? Very simple, make it conversational. After you find out why, what brought them to you, selling value is based on, you know, a few value statements of why you're the best and why you can take care of their needs, tying it to what they said. You know what? Thank you for trusting me. Just to let you know, all of our chauffeurs are our employees. Okay, we will take great care of your wife and daughter. Then and only them, provide the price, pause, and say something like, which credit card do you want to lock this in today? We sell out quickly, and I don't want you to lose out, and I want to make sure I can get you that corporate pricing structure.
Yeah.
So
Assuming the close. I love it. Yeah.
assume the close, okay? Pause. And if they say, you know what, I want to think about it, let me ask you a question. You said to me that you used to use somebody and they went out of business. Just out of curiosity, not that I can match, something like that, but what did they charge you? Well, they used to charge me this. You know something? Labor's gone up 22%. My commercial insurance has gone up. God knows fuel, has gone up. And we're charging, this is an all-in rate. Really, the best I can do if you book a round trip with me is X. Okay. So if you have to give a little, get the second ride.
Yeah.
Okay. All
Exactly.
right. Okay. So developing your value statements is simple stuff. Okay. Start with looking at your best 10 clients and why do you think they use you? And I'm going to tell you right now, it's not on price. They use you because you're reliable, you show up, your cars are clean, your chauffeurs are good people, you know how to get to the airport, you carry their luggage, etc. Identify the value benefits that each customer tells you. Develop value statements that resonate with the value beneficiaries. And if somebody is traveling early morning 3 or 4 times a month, it's simple. Mark, I am never going to leave you stranded. We guarantee on-time performance. As I told you, we use technology to monitor our chauffeurs to wake up the first guy in the morning. We have a backup plan in case something happens. We're never going to leave you stranded. Deliver on that promise. And then consistently communicate the value. If I'm not answering my phone every time, I'm writing this stuff down. I'm writing a list of questions and a list of value propositions to deliver. Okay. And make sure that you actually can deliver on the value statements. Don't overpromise and underdeliver. No question about it. If, at the end of the day, you have a couple of choices. If you sell on price, you're basically going to the lowest common denominator client. Okay. If you sell on value, if you ask the questions and if you find out why they called you today, how often they travel, et cetera, and you build that value, you're going to find that you're attracting a better caliber of customer. Okay. So facts about selling value over price. This is from one of the #1 books on value sales. If the customer perceives they're going to receive many value benefits for the price, there's a perception the value of the service is higher. Every single seller controls that. Mark, what do you drink in the morning?
Coffee,
What kind of coffee? How do you take it?
Nespresso, usually a little bit almond milk.
So, do you want me to put that on your profile and have the chauffeur stop and get it for you before every single trip? As long as you book round trips with me, I don't mind paying for your coffee in the morning. Do you read anything? Do you want me to get you, a Wall Street Journal? Okay. Do you want an orange juice in the car? Okay.
Yeah.
Every seller controls the value that they can deliver. Okay. You told me your wife is going out of town for 10 days. She's going to have a lot of luggage. Let us take care of that for you. I will put on your profile that on this trip there's a lot of luggage. By the way, we'll meet her on her return trip. We'll meet her at baggage claim so she doesn't have to schluck all that stuff outside to the curb. We'll take care of that for you. Every seller controls the value that they deliver. But if they lead with price, okay, there's no time to communicate any of that value. The more you know about your target customer and what's important to them, exactly what they need, what they want, what they expect, the more you can tailor your service benefits and values offers to them. I am a corporate specialist, Mark. We have most of the major corporations in your area because we guarantee on-time performance. Our vehicles are impeccably cleaned and sanitized between trips. Our chauffeurs are employees. They all have unbelievably safe driving records, etc. Okay. When you find out what's the most important buying criteria to your customers and you educate them, you're going to attract like customers. Okay. You cannot attract like customers if all you're doing is treating people the same based on a price, based on a PPC booking tool or a form. You have to find out more about your target customers. And the beauty is, as with beauty, value is in the eyes of the beholder. It's different for everybody. I can tell you that I got Home Shopping Network as a client because I cold called Kevin Harrington, who was one of the original
Yeah,
sharks from Shark
of
Tank.
course.
I cold called Kevin. I knew that Kevin at the time went to Asia at very early in the morning. Okay. And I knew that, just for knowing him in the area, I knew he lived in a gated house. And I said to him, I went by his office. I brought his executive assistant. At the time, we were using huge paper cubes. Like these things were 2 inches big. I bought them from Art Messina. And I said, listen, anytime that Kevin needs a trip to the airport, this is a certificate. I want to provide him with 20% off the first round trip. I am the owner. I will be his driver. And if he's going to be around tomorrow, I'd like to show him a brand new piece of equipment that we just got in that I think he'll like. Next day I go by, I show him an Escalade that had a partition in it. And I said, Kevin, you do a lot of business. I'm sure a lot of my lawyer clients use this vehicle because they want total confidentiality. Okay. So you control when that partition goes up and you can choose whether it's glass or whether it's totally stationary, you can't see through it. He
Yeah.
said, Ken, do you have a few minutes? I said, sure. He said, all right, go around this corner, take this left, take this right. He sat in the back of the car. He brought me to Shopping Network. He brought me in. He introduces me to, at her time, her name was Mindy. She was the president. He says, come on down, take a look at this vehicle. This is what we've been talking about. We don't want drivers to know the deals that we're working on. This is the kind of vehicle that Ken has. That's what closed the Home Shopping Network because I cold called Kevin Harrington. So, by the way, that was on his profile. That vehicle, nobody even asked what the price was. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't just give a price. Find out who they are, why they're traveling, what's important to them, How often do they go? Okay. And what did they do before today? Very, very, very key. So, final thing, if you do not sell on the first lead, why don't you take another bite at that apple? Okay. Where is it written that if they didn't buy from you the first time, why are you making the assumption that they're happy with their choice?
Yeah.
So send them a text message or send them an email offering them whatever it is, 10% off, $20 off if they book a round trip, whatever the case is, offer them something. The other issue I always find, even if you don't sell them, let them know that you do nice out in an SUV. You have a limousine. You have a Sprinter. Everybody's got a birthday. Everybody's got an anniversary. Let everybody know what you do. Okay. So you instantly now let them know you have a lot more capability than that airport trip. Do things the competition won't do. Don't give it away. But if someone says to you, you know what, can you do a wake up call in the morning? Of course I can do a wake up call in the morning. I have a dispatcher sitting. Of course
Yeah.
we can wake you up. Whatever the case is, carry their luggage, get them an orange juice. That's why they are hiring you. They don't use our service to feel like everybody else. They use our services to feel special. That's what we do. Find more ways for your existing customers to use your services. Once you do sell them on your airport service, make sure they get a thank you. Make sure that they understand that this is not all you do is airport service. Some people don't make the connection that an airport service company also may have sprinters, minibuses,
Yep.
limo buses, etc. And then don't try to be all things to all people. If you're a black car company, okay, and that you're running 5-year-old vehicles, God bless you. Okay. It's a tougher, it's a higher volume business. But if you want to attract executive clients, then you need to act like a true executive chauffeured service. An executive chauffeured service, you know, banks, financial institutions, lawyers, and doctors, most of them do not buy solely on price and they don't book their own trip. Their EA needs to know your primary responsibility is going to be to take care of their boss and to make them look good. And then don't sell everything to everyone priced the same way. You remember I said to you, Mark, tell me, how often do you travel? Ken, I'm only in town tonight. Okay, no offense. I'm not going to work real hard to give that guy the best price.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And people need to understand if you ask them that question, I'm an executive assistant for my boss. Tell me, how often does he travel? 5 times a month. You know something, Mark? We need to open up a corporate account. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to book this today. And then I'm going to come to see you after this. I know your boss is happy. We're going to open up a corporate account. Let me know when they typically travel. I'm going to build a profile. You said you take care of multiple people. You give me people's addresses. I'm going to build a profile so that we know exactly who it is. And so you don't have to give us addresses every single time. You could say, pick up Kevin at his house. Boom, you're done.
Yeah.
So create top tier offerings for your best clients only. Okay. My clients that used me for airport got special deals on SUVs for nights out. Okay. Because even with the advent of Uber, nobody wants to compete with the bar crowd at 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So my clients got something special from me that were not that I did not offer on my website. I let every VIP client know based on first come, first serve that we did SUV service either at an all-in rate for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night, or for select people, we would do drop off and pick up. I preferred the charters. I preferred to say, listen, you're going to go to Burns Steakhouse. You're going to eat for 2.5 hours. Worst case scenario, I'm going to be back you're going to sit at the bar and have an after dinner drink while I get there to pick you up, or I can be standing by outside. But don't sell that service. Don't offer that to everybody. Make your top tier clients feel special. Mark, I know that you have tickets to the Raiders. Tell you what I'm going to do. if you don't want to park at the Raiders, I'll give you a drop off or pickup, or I'll give you a standby, especially for the bigger games, to get you in and out of there, because you don't want to be waiting for an Uber.
No.
So last thing, thank everybody for considering you. We're here to take care of you. Thank you very much for inquiring today. Make sure they know everything that you can do. Did you know that we also provide the following? Perfect the three-legged bundle for the top 10 cities. If you know where you people are traveling, do you know you can make 30% on a trip that you did, that all you did was book the ride, if you have a trusted affiliate in the 10 best cities that they travel to? You know, Mark, you tell me you travel a lot. Yep, I go to Las Vegas. I have the biggest one of my biggest clients is in Las Vegas. I have to see him 3 or 4 times a month. What do you do in Las Vegas? Well, I was using Uber. Tell you what, I can give you one secure transaction. Why don't you let me quote you for the Las Vegas business?
Yeah.
Okay. It's an option. A lot of people like it. I can tell you my clients that have done great national work make 30% on trips that they don't even have metal on. Sell the airport round trips on your down days or down times. I know clients that just go after older couples who are retired. Most of these people don't travel at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. If you can do round trip specials when you know you're going to have down days or down times during the day, make it happen. But you only learn that by finding out when these people travel.
Yeah.
And then this one I love, and I have a client that does this. They sell 5 round trips at a time. They sell 5 round trips at a special price to a law firm that's got 15 lawyers. And when they run out, they email the EA and say, it's time for you to spend to pay for another 5 round trips. Okay. I don't know why people don't do it more for their biggest clients. Okay. The only way I can give you a better rate than this, Mark, because you travel so much, you put 5 round trips on your account. They roll over every month. If you don't lose them, they roll over. Don't worry about it. But it allows me, this way I don't have to do individual credit card processing, et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera. So that's pretty much it. These are just all I was hoping to do is get people to think, okay, about the value of a lead. Guy that taught me how to sell when I was in the security business used to say to me, you see this lead? I keep this in my wallet with the rest of my money. Okay. And
Yeah.
his philosophy was, I keep calling them until they buy or die. Now, that's hardcore, but in our business, unless they, God forbid, stop traveling tomorrow, chances are there's another opportunity to
Yeah.
sell, even if you didn't do it today. But don't make the assumption that they know that you do charters at night, you do birthdays and anniversary nights out, that you have a Sprinter in your fleet or you have access to one. Don't make that assumption. You already paid for the sales lead. If these
Yeah.
people are being driven by somebody for one thing, chances are they are users of chauffeur transportation for other things. It's
Yeah.
your job. Don't make the assumption that they know that you have a stretch limousine or that you routinely take care of people that go out for sporting events. And I think that's the biggest mistake that I see happening. When I speak to clients about valuing their business, whether it's to sell or whether it's for a divorce or whether it's for estate planning or buying a partner out, I always ask them the question and I try out their forms. Okay. I know that when I don't get a phone call or text message, I know that they're not maximizing the value of what they're buying. Okay.
Yeah.
And I literally had an operator say to me, well, we just don't have time for that. Really? I see your financial statements. Don't bullshit me. I know you have
Yeah.
time for that. You
Yeah.
know?
So when you were going over all of this, I just had an aha moment, a few weeks ago. My number one query from my customers is, how do I get more corporate clients? And for the longest time, I thought, yeah, what am I not getting corporate leads? No, of course there are corporate leads, but
Yep.
if you aren't talking to them, and yeah, for a while there, I was telling my clients, oh yeah, send a text message, whatever. Now I firmly believe if you want to maximize the revenue from the leads, if you're not calling at least for the first time, and I love that you don't have to talk to them every time. You teach them how to interact with your business, but making that call the first time, especially like when you're the owner of the business, it just means a lot when someone's like, I'm the owner of the business, I'm going to take care of you. Wow, okay. And then asking them those questions you went over about, what were you doing before you called today? That's how
That's a,
you,
that's how you know the market. That's how you get to know your business and know your market. How do you know that one of your competitors is down 5 vehicles and can't take care of his regular clients? Okay. Because you have to ask the question. Okay. Now, listen, the other side of this is you could also offer to help the guy as an affiliate if that's what you want to do. Okay. A local affiliate. I mean, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But since we've lost so many companies, chances are that the answer to that question is I used to use so and so and he retired because of the pandemic. Or I used to use so and so. He had 30 cars, now he has 10. So I'm not a priority to him. Guess what? You're a priority to me. You know, the only thing we have to sell is our customer service because Amazon has everything else. Okay.
yeah,
Private business is all local. Private business does not want, yes, they want to use your technology. And I am a huge believer because I see, percentages of income for reservation departments of 6%, 8%. That's unbelievable, right? And you do that equation, it's $8 a reservation. By the way, the
yeah,
highest I ever did was $12 a reservation. Guy almost fell on it. He almost fell on the floor. When you make that connection, that they have a person. I don't want to be gender. I have to be gender neutral today, but everybody wants a guy. Hey, Ken, I got a guy. Don't worry, you don't need to worry about it. I got a guy. Ken will take care of you.
yeah,
It's the nature of what we do. We are not just providing the ride. People do business with chauffeur transportation because they want a better experience. Okay. Now, yes, they search on Google, but you know what? They want they want to feel special. And I don't care whether it's a text message. People text me all the time. They say, Ken, listen, you inquired about this. Do you have a few minutes? Let me know when you have a few minutes. If I have interest, I'm gonna take the call. Okay.
yeah, yeah,
And so I look at what we do for lead generation, and people today, it's all digital, but people think it is completely means that I don't have to have interaction with my clients.
yeah,
You're missing an opportunity. You're missing the opportunity. You don't know the why. There's no way a form can ask you, what did you do before this? What did you do before you called me today? Okay.
yeah.
And why aren't you doing it? What brought you to call? Why did you call me today? Is this the first time you've ever taken chauffeur transportation?
Yes.
Many of my, I have a lot of things I notice about post pandemic, and I interact with a lot of buyers from who are not in the industry. And people have said to me, I used to use Uber, Ken, but I don't trust them anymore in the mornings. I can't guarantee that they're going to get me. I'm like, yeah, I know, because the way Uber's working is even though I make a reservation 2 days ago, they're only checking drivers within 60 minutes of that trip, and in a lot of cases they
Yep.
don't have the capacity. Then they'll bring out the algorithm so it'll go out another 30 miles. They can't make it.
Yeah.
Okay. I challenge people to check that stat in the Uber's K1 and in Uber's annual report. Less than 4% is by reservation. Less than 2% of their trips began or ended at an airport. Okay. That's not what people want. When you have to make a flight, you
Yeah.
don't want to be guessing.
Exactly.
Not to mention the fact that Uber's prices have gone up 45% since 2019.
Yeah.
So,
No, I learned the hard way when I was staying at my parents in Sacramento. They lived in like kind of a ways out, actually in a small town called Auburn. I had a 6 a.m. flight one morning, and I'm an hour away from the airport. I wake up at 4 a.m. and I try to call an Uber. Or no, I had reserved one the night before, right? And this was the first time I ever did it, and I just assumed you reserve one, you're good. But no, I found out the hard way. My dad had to drive me that,
Yep.
yeah, they started looking for a ride like 15 minutes before my ride or 30 minutes before my ride. They put it out there trying to find drivers, and yeah, they didn't find anyone. So
Right. And then they do it, and then they open up the geography, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
now you say,
exactly.
and now you're watching the app say, okay, he's 10 minutes away. Boop, nope, he's 20 minutes away. Boop,
Yeah.
nope, it's not.
And when we have to be at the airport, there's nothing more stressful. There's nothing more stressful than that. One other point I wanted to just mention, I've listened to so many calls, and what I hear the most is how much from here to here, and then the next thing they say is the price. And if that's the very first thing you communicate when someone's asked how much from here to here, and you don't ask them any other questions, and you just say the price, what are you communicating? That price is all that matters, right?
And
I
you
mean,
and you have no value in what you do. So tell me something,
yes.
Mark. How often do you go from here to here? You told me that you listen. My wife and I like to go out every Thursday night. We don't like to have a car waiting. Okay, then here's what we should do. Okay, how often do you go to the airport? We go to the airport 5 times a year. How often do I go to Sacramento to visit your parents? I go a few times a year. Then I think if you buy some round trips, this is what I can do for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Why do you, what did you do before? I used to use Uber, but I got left stranded 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
That's never a good feeling. People tell me that all the time, Mark. So here's what I suggest. So it's not being, it really is fact finding and solving problems. It's
Yeah.
not, I don't look at it as sales. I look at it as finding out what I need to know to serve you best. Okay. And once you get in a routine, it becomes totally conversational. It becomes like riding a bike. There's no question that it flows. But
Yeah.
and the key is though, you can't be in the rush to get off the phone. You can't say, well, it's, going to LaGuardia, it's $117. That's not selling. Okay.
Yeah.
That's not finding out anything about how often, why they're calling you, etc. So I love seeing people that have quoting tools. I think it's essential to have the quoting tools.
Yeah.
I think it is essential to be able to have the person check to make sure that there's availability and pay online. Okay. But
Yeah.
it does not replace making a person feel special. Okay. I mean, even if it's a text message to say, listen, I noticed, or an email, I noticed you asked for a quote to go from downtown, Madison to the airport. If I can help you, my name is Ken. That's an early morning trip. You don't want to leave that to chance. We guarantee on time performance. Let me know how I can help you. It's a lot better than sending just 4 automated emails that people are not going to read. Okay. How often are you in town? You're staying at a hotel. How often are you in town? My biggest client is in Madison. I come here 5 times a month. Could you take a phone call? Would you have a few minutes for a call? I mean, it's basic stuff, right? You're not treating everybody exactly the same. You're making
Yeah.
them feel special and you're learning about them. It's what I miss about the business. The only thing I don't miss anything at all about owning a limousine company. The funnest time I ever had in the business was my first year when I was in my SUV, had my laptop, working wedding leads, taking airport leads, etc. This was way before the days of Google ads. The only thing a website was, yeah, you want to be on Google page one, but there was only because it was, electronic postcard. But I would work my wedding leads. I would work
Yeah.
my airport leads, and in between that, I'd visit corporate accounts. I'd show off a piece of equipment. I'd bring coffee cake. Okay, there was a place
Yeah.
down in Tampa that had these unbelievable coffee cakes, and it was like all of the ladies, and I will be sexist. All the ladies at Tech Data was one of my big clients.
Yeah.
I got that client because I would bring in a minibus. I would say, what time can I come in? What time is the break in the morning? 10 o'clock in the morning, I would pull up with a minibus and we would have coffee cakes in the back of that thing. We'd have coffee. The president of Tech Data himself comes in and said, geez, this is a beautiful vehicle. I'm like, yeah, I mean, we use it for corporate. This was a limo bus. We use it for corporate, and we also use it for private clients. But if you notice, look, I've got coffee service here, so there's no stripper pole. It's very there's
Yeah.
very conversational seating, right?
Yeah.
The funny thing is, one of my competitors said to me, who used to have that corporation, they lost the account because they sent a party bus instead of a minibus. But yet, when I went over it and explained to the
How you
president,
framed it, right?
I framed it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this guy's like, every time they used to have people come in, they sold software. They would have executives come in for training and managers come in for training. They would take them out to dinner to a decent steakhouse. That's the vehicle they wanted, because think about it. They're all
It's
conversational.
more conversational. Yeah. When you're
Right.
forward facing seats, you don't get that interaction with
Right.
only your seat partner, right?
And
So,
that deal was because I brought coffee cakes to the executive assistants.
oh, yeah.
I mean, it's just simple shit. And we've got great equipment. The industry's got phenomenal equipment to show off.
Yeah.
We used to line up. We used to do it maybe every 6 months or so. We would line up the latest equipment that we would have. These ladies, and it wasn't just ladies, it was guys that would come in. They'd go in and out of the equipment. They would get their morning coffee, or sometimes we would do what we would call a lunch and learn. Okay. And you can do
I
that
know about the lunch and learns. Yeah.
right,
That's
right.
awesome.
You do that
Yeah.
in an office park that's got 5 or 6. You can get creative with it.
Yeah.
That's really I do miss that. I do miss that. I don't see enough people doing enough local prospecting. Last
Yeah.
story is I visited a client that wanted me to sell his company. Been in the business for a long time, and he was in an office park. Probably had 75 or 80 companies in there. He'd been in this office park for only 2 years. All his equipment was lined up. So I said to him, tell me something. Who's across the street from you? I don't know. Well, wait a minute. Who's to the left and who's to the right? I don't know. I'm like, dude, these are 3-story office buildings. Okay. You're literally telling me you've been here, but Ken, I've only been here for 2 years. I look at the directory coming in the rental car. There are 75 names. I would be opening every one of these clients. I would say, you now have a corporate account. I'm right
Yeah.
here in the office park. And this guy was a great website guy. He had a great website. He had great tools. He had great online booking tools. He didn't know who any of the companies were around him. I was amazed at it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. What this was like a master class. And I just thought of one more thing. I think the mistake I see a lot of companies make is even the ones that have, brand new, vehicles, just really top of the line equipment. Yeah, it's great. It's like any hotel. You want to stay in a nice room, but typically what always leaves a lasting impression are the people you interact with. Right.
yes,
And the level of service. And you can't
yes.
have the brand new vehicles if like the level of service isn't there. That's just if not more important, I think, than having, the newest, latest model vehicle. It's they can trust you and you're friendly and you're always enthusiastic and ready to help.
The key is the only thing that matters to me about the vehicles is it's got to be impeccably clean. Okay.
Yeah.
Impeccably clean is what I'm paying for. I don't care if it's the latest and greatest Escalade. I don't care. I mean, the
Yeah.
only ones that are obsessed with that is us. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the chauffeur is the chauffeur, and you're talking to the guy that, I wrote those books. I don't know who read 15,000 copies, but what got me is about writing that book is I could not have written it if I did not do the job myself. And
Yeah.
you have to define what the touch points are. It's been a long time since I've done it, but at the end of the day, the touch points are very important. Never let the client touch the door latch. Never let them touch their own luggage. No, Ken, I've got my luggage. I'm a guy. I don't need you carrying my roller. Mark, this is what I do. Let me do what I do. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you say it that way, they will give up the luggage, or, let me, my best clients, I wouldn't do this for everybody. My best clients, I would bring their luggage upstairs to the second floor. Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't above that. You're talking about a guy that I had at one point I had 86 pieces of equipment. That was Kevin Harrington. I mean, Kevin Harrington wrote it into his contract that he wanted us as his chauffeur company. Okay. And
Yeah.
Kevin comes home at the end of the night. I'm Kevin. You want me to carry this upstairs? I'm not too good for that.
Yeah.
Okay. It is all about how you make the person feel. Okay.
Yes.
It's without question. This is the hospitality in industry. And you're absolutely correct. And I'm kind of shocked even when my clients pick me up and I'm talking about some of the bigger companies regionally and nationally.
Yeah.
It's the experience is definitely it has to be more akin to a higher level hotel
Yeah,
experience
like a
because
Ritz or yeah. I mean,
listen, it does not cost you any more to make a hospitable impression. And whatever your touch points are, you develop them yourself. But to me, the big thing is if I wanted to open my own door, I'd use taxi. I'd use Uber. If I wanted to carry on my own luggage, I would use taxi or Uber. If I didn't want my chauffeur to get up from the driver's seat, put it in park, come around the back of the vehicle, okay, and get the door or carry my wife's luggage, I would use a lesser service. But
yeah.
you have to convey that. And yeah, I mean, it's the hospitality part of the industry. It really is.
Yeah,
So, but
totally.
anyway,
Well, this has been incredible. So, Ken, tell people where they can find you. I know you mentioned driving transactions, so you help, limo operators looking to sell their businesses.
yep, our entire business revolves around, half the business we work with banks. When people buy equipment, if it's over a certain amount, the bank send me financial statements, and it's me and my financial kid we review. But as far as operators are concerned, we do financial planning and analysis, and we do business valuations when people get ready to sell their companies. My ideal client wants to sell a year to 2 to 3 years from now. It's the clients that want to get out in 90 days that usually are the headache because
Yeah,
it's a tough process. But it starts with financial analysis, financial review of not only your financial statements, but your key operating statistics, all of your revenue reports from your software. When you sell a business, it's not like selling a bus or a house or a commercial building. It's all about financial data. If you want to maximize value, if you want, and we've been pretty fortunate with it. I said to somebody the other day, I think we've made it look too easy because sometimes people will think I can sell their business in 90 days.
yeah,
It's all financial data driven. It's all what we do is analyze your business, get to know your business so that we can maximize the value and sell the opportunities that are available. So yeah, we've done 23 of them since 2018 for the biggest transactions in the business. The most recent was let's see, October. We sold a company called Red Oak Transportation, which was a $10 million operator. We sold that company to Liros, another great buyer.
yeah,
Right now, we've got 3 letters of intent for companies that we're selling. One down in Texas is about 1.5 million. The other up in the New England region is about 2.5 million. And then we've got more than a few for sale. But the key is when I tell people if they're considering selling their business is even if you're thinking about an exit strategy and you want to exit a year from now or 2 years from now, no company is ready to sell the minute that you want to get out. They all require conditioning, positioning. Sometimes they require fixing a few things financially.
yeah,
And that's kind of what we become specialists in. It's not just me. I mean, I told you we have a full-time financial analyst. The kid has a degree in corporate finance. He should be working for Goldman Sachs. For some reason, he likes working for me. And everything that we do is about making companies look good financially. And thankfully, after the pandemic, companies are doing well. Some of
yeah,
them are saying, I've had a good year. It's time for me to get out because if I stay in, I'll have to maybe invest in some more equipment. So we have some people exiting for that reason. We have other people that do valuations because of financial planning, estate planning, divorces, partner buyouts.
Yeah,
Their banks require them to do evaluation before they buy more equipment. So
sure.
yeah, so it's pretty much driving transactions. That's pretty much what we do.
Awesome. Well, hey, this has been, like I said, a masterclass. It's funny you're into the M&A stuff and you're so good at sales. Um,
That's
Usually most owners of businesses are, it's just incredible.
Let me tell you
You know
something.
your stuff.
Sometimes the sales skills are the most important skills when it comes to sell these companies because
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
there this is not an easy industry. I mean, it's all labor intensive with drivers, etc. But I think what we do better than anybody is when we do financial analysis and when we structure the financial statements or format them in what I call a strict cost of goods format. Buyers understand we know our stuff. We know our stuff because I say to them, look at what they were charging in 17 or 18 or 19. Now look at what they're charging. Look at what their gross profit margins look like. When you fold this into your business, these are the expenses that you're going to shed, or these are the synergies that come with it.
Yeah.
Um, it's a process, and it's a good niche for us. I think it's a good niche. I think it's an important niche for the industry. When people say to me, "Well, what's financial planning and analysis?" I said, "It's simple. If you've been in business for longer than a year, you should be looking at how did I do last month? Excuse me, last year this same month. How did I do last year the first week in February?
Yeah.
What happened then?" And it's not an industry that's known for financial sophistication. I wasn't when I owned an operator. I mean, when I
Yeah.
was an operator, I was just focused on growing the top line. I wish I
Sure.
had somebody saying to me, Ken, by the way, you're doing a lot of volume, but you're not making a lot of money with your sedan business. You're making good money with your mini coaches. You're making good
Yeah.
money here. But geez, Ken, you're not making enough money on your sedan trips. I wish I had somebody doing what we do now. Um, but you know, it's hindsight is 2020.
Yeah. Well,
So
hey, I'll let you go. I know it's been a little over an hour, but
it's been
incredibly,
great.
incredibly valuable. Thanks so much for doing this, Ken. And hopefully
Anytime.
we can talk again soon.
Sounds good. I appreciate it, Mark. Anytime. And I will send you the presentation. You can send it out.
Perfect.
All
Thank
right.
you.